in this session so that we can retrieve it. And thank you, Dr. Salim, for being with us today. We'll let our EG to open this meeting. Over to you, EG.
Jumi, have you finished?
No, I've finished my first part, just the webinar.
Okay.
Yes, so it's the welcome now.
Okay, thank you very much. First and foremost, let me welcome all the Counter Forum members who are there and secretariat staff who are all over the place. And I hope all of you are keeping very safe, especially within the context of this COVID pandemic, which is ravaging the whole world. And well, of course, it has brought in some issues, especially in, with respect to implementation of this project and others, and the way we relate to the county fora, which is now not even mostly, it is now virtual. We'll be having virtual meetings, virtual trainings, and so on. Workshops and all that kind of stuff. So I think you'll bear with us. But I think it's not a bad development per se, because now the ICT and virtual issues are becoming paramount now in doing a lot of things. And I think it will introduce more and more of extension workers working with the farmers virtually, especially where content is more frequently and more comprehensively. And I think that's the direction we are going. Now, going straight to this meeting, it's one of its kind, and it's good we are all around and to initiate the Caadp, because very soon I've just signed the sub-grant agreement, which will allow us to send money and funds, though not much, to the various countries who are going to implement the program. But you have to note that although the resources are not enough, even for the Secretariat anyway, and there are other smaller projects for various countries. There's the LMP, there's farmer field schools, and so on and so forth, where activities are also ongoing. Farmer field schools for East Africa, LMP for some 2 or 3 countries. So all combined, you will find that it is actually to operationalize the operational plan and so on. And the key other thing that you might have to work on very fast, and sooner or later, once we finish the training modules and so on fundraising, sustainability, partnership, and so on and so forth, how the country fora can structure itself and position itself in working and sustaining itself within the country, of course, with the stimulus, with the resources will be providing, and with the backstopping from the Secretariat. So I can see, first and foremost, I think I can see that the key, one of the biggest things that is going to come up, like I said, not only now but later on, even is the issue of knowledge management, which is really paramount. And Andrew is there and very able, backed up by Nesta, who's in Cameroon. And you can see we have people now employed in various places. We have, I don't know what they have been introduced before. We have Andrew, who's in Madagascar. He's a Secretariat staff. We have Samson working in Ethiopia, and we have Nesta working from Cameroon. So we are all scattered in a way, and we are working virtually most of the time, and we'll continue to do so. So without really taking a lot of your time, let me hand back to you, Andre, and we move on. And again, you're welcome, but please keep safe. We want to keep on working with you guys and expanding the role of the county fora. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, AD, for this introduction and welcome. So just to explain, because there are some questions that has already been raised in the question box. Some of our secretariat members are not here today because of different issues, and also maybe because of the new way of teleworking. At this time, at this precise moment, there is another webinar co-organized by AFAS and FEO. And for instance, Max is co-facilitating that, so that's why he's not here. He might come from time to time, but it's very focused that side. For Ethiopia, we know that there are some troubles that side, and Dr. Samson won't be able also to join. Kate has some health issues, but she has just sent a WhatsApp that she will join soon, and you'll be able to ask questions to Kate if the financial officer at AFAS if we need to ask some questions. But we will start for this first meeting on focusing more on the CIKM and MNE. The others, the focal person, will come to that when Samsung and Max will be there. But for today, we will start just with the CIKM, and it's already a long thing to explain. So what about the CIKM facilitator, his roles, responsibilities, and competencies that are required, and the deliverables that are expected from that person? So there are 3-4 different groups of roles that are requested from the CIKM facilitator. The first one is more on communication and networking. As we see here, the role of the CIKM is to enhance the communication and the networking inside the country forum, to create and update the website or the portal for that country forum, to animate the social media channels. You might have some Twitter or some Facebook or some Instagram. But the CIKM facilitator is there to animate that. To animate technical working groups. Each country forum has to put in place some technical working groups. Depending on the focus, but there will be some common focus, like for instance, the climate relevant activities, some foresight, so on. And this, we need to put in place some technical working group where experts can express and share information. And the other group of activities that the CIKM facilitator will cover is to provide some kind of technical support, especially in the ICT aspect. Will train members, they will facilitate e-meetings using webinars, Zooms, and so on. Then the biggest part is on knowledge management. So the CIKM facilitator will work a lot on knowledge management aspects, collecting stories, articles, and case studies, capturing photos, videos, and audios, writing stories, and collecting innovation techniques. These are all the activities that will be done by the knowledge management facilitator. And last but not least, the CIKM facilitator also is responsible for the MNE. In some ways, he will collect data and he will contribute in writing reports. Of course, the CIKM facilitator won't be alone in doing all these things. The CIKM facilitator will work with the focal person first, some experts in the country forum, and many other people that will backstop some consultants from the regional forum. So let's take one by one this group of activities. So about communication and networking activities, the deliverables that are expected from the CIKM facilitator are a database of members, a website that is populated, social media that is running and populated, and a database of experts. each country forum must identify the experts in their country forum. And about the technical support, the deliverables that we are expecting is that people in the country forum are comfortable in video recording, in photo shooting and collecting photos, in producing reports, in preparing training materials, and we will collect some deliverables like interviews and testimonials from the fields. Then the other group of activity is about knowledge management. The deliverables that we are expecting from the CIKM are again video, maybe documentaries, fact sheets, photo galleries, any types of documentaries, stories, interviews, case studies, articles, and any AAS relevant document that can be produced in the context of the project. And then the last thing is about the M&E. So here, the CIKM facilitator will have the role of collecting data and writing reports. So what we expect is the deliverables that we will get from there are the database, updated, and periodical reports that are sent to the country forum responsible to the chair and to the APAS as well. So these are the roles of the CIKM facilitator. Now, this means that this person, the CIKM facilitator, is someone that needs a lot of skills, and the minimum requirements or readiness that we are expecting from the CIKM person is that it must have some ICT, very practical skills. Minimum is that that person knows how to use the Office suite, like the Word, Excel, and so on. That person knows how to shoot photos and edit photos. That is fluent in using social media, at least Twitter and Facebook, and so on. The other set of readiness that we are expecting is that champion will also be good in communicating and networking. At least that person should know how to prepare a very good presentation. That person has very good interpersonal skills, and that person should be as much as possible active on social media. Of course, the CIKM person will have to learn a lot, and it has to be a fast learner, which means that someone with a fresh brain, still curious, still happy to learn, and not someone who is very tired of learning. These are the expected quality from the CIKM facilitator. Now, coming to what are concretely the deliverables that we are expecting from that champion, from that very skilled person. So every week, we are expecting minimum 2 tweets for Facebook posts, which is not very difficult to do if you are really active, because in each activity you are doing, you can tweet something. Per month, we are expecting that you produce 1 video file, which can be just an interview, which can be a field report, which can be a small documentary or a small technique demonstration. We are expecting per month 2 audio files. It can be an interview, it can be an explanation, it can be any kind of presentation that is relevant in the context of the program we are going to develop. Then case studies or stories, one per month. The case study is something that needs some elaborate approach, or stories needs some time collect all of the data. So one per month is expected from each CIKM. Then the activities and field photos, 5 per week. That is a minimum 5 per week. If you are really active, you are working, 5 per week is a very small amount. Then updates on the website, minimum every 2 weeks. So any of the above, if you produce a case study, you can post it on your website. That's already one update on the website. If you have one video, or if you have one story or any field photos, you can upload it, and that's already an update on your website. And documents shared on the website. Knowledge management is about capitalizing all the information, the knowledge that has been already produced in the past. So in our case, we want the CIKM to collect all the documents, all the knowledge products that already exist in the country, or maybe even beyond the country, but on a very specific topic that we agree, and we share it on the website. So we expect during the 6-month first stage of this project to collect 40. Among these 40, 15 will be related to climate relevant or climate smart agriculture, and 25 others will be focusing on other topics. Then the M&E data collection, that will happen once per month. We need a set of data collected every month, and a consolidated report, one per quarter. So some of these activities, of course, will be done jointly with some experts, with some member organizations of the country forum, or with the focal persons. It's not up to the CIKM person alone to do everything, but this is how accountable we can evaluate our CIKM person. So yeah, that is the first part of our presentation, explaining about the CIKM person. Maybe we can take quickly a couple of questions before we move to the next presentation.
Maybe Andre,
yes.
This is Jerry. I'm seeing from the chat box some questions. Louis, the chairperson, CAMFAS, is asking, is it possible to share the presentation?
Yes, absolutely. We'll share all the presentation, and including also the video recording of this meeting. Okay, so I will continue now with the next presentation, which is also linked to the CIKM partly, but which is also the mechanism for the implementation with other units. So we know that at AFAS we have the planning and partnership unit, we have the CID, or institutional capacity development unit, we have the CIKM, ICTKM unit, we have the M&E unit, we have the finance and the procurement units, and the ED office is coordinating and supervising all these units. The activities that I'm presenting here will be more for the ICT and the M&E units, but most of what we'll be explaining applies also for the capacity development units and for the planning and partnership units. Of course, the others are cross-cutting, like finance is everywhere. So mechanism for implementation of the ICTTM activities in the context of the COVID-19. One concern that we have at AFAS is that our partners, for instance, very recently in the last quarter, FAO, GFRAS, IFAD, are asking where are the results of the concrete actions of AFAS at ground level. They are asking at ground level, not at continental level. Although AFAS Secretariat may not reach that ground level, funders and partners are expecting to see concrete results from the funding that are sent to AFAS. So what partners and funders are looking for are evidences, testimonials that we are still not able to collect for now. So the following proposed mechanism is an attempt to touch ground within the Caadp XP4 activities. How are we going to really touch ground? How are we going to provide some evidences from grassroots about implementation of this project? So, as we know, AFAS has already pre-selected 10 country forums. If you are here in this meeting, it's because you have been pre-selected. And then this country forum, we are expecting that they will select 6 to 10 EAS organizations. When we call it EAS, it can be NGO that do extension, university that teaches extension advisory service, any civil society, farm organization, private sector that touch on EAS area. So the country forum will select 6 to 10 of these organizations inside their huge network. Then these country forum members, from these members, they have to select 12 to 20 extension workers. So let's say if you have 6 organizations that you selected, you find 12 extension workers that are very individual, names with all the details that we'll put in the database, and 24 final beneficiaries or farmers. These are those that we will be monitoring periodically at AFAS Secretariat, these final beneficiaries. Now you might ask, why so low number? The reason is very simple. The capacity to do the follow-up, because we need to do a very rigorous, tight follow-up on what's happening, how is it progressing, and so on. And it's not only us at Secretariat, it's also the CIKM who will have to collect data. So you must be very cautious that it's not easy thing to collect the information from all these people. And also, of course, the funding. The funding might not be enough for all the activities that we want. So 6 to 10 organizations, 12 to 20 extension workers from these organizations, and 24 to 40 final beneficiaries or farmers. From there, we want to show evidences, results, and impacts, and identify with these concrete and identified beneficiaries. Again, I'm listing here, enumerating here the country for us that are benefiting from this first implementation. It's Cameroon, Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, Madagascar, Malawi, Mali, Nigeria, South Africa, and Uganda. These are the 10 countries countries, the first countries that are benefiting from the Caadp XP. Each one of these countries, here I'm taking the example of Nigeria. Each one of these country forum like Nigeria will choose 1 to 10 organizations, minimum 6 organizations or entities. It should have some NGOs, some farm organizations maybe, any people that are doing serious extension or representing the farmers that needs the extension. Then from each one of these organizations, the member organization in your country forum, you choose two persons, individual. We need their photo. We will need all the required information about where they are, when they started, what they are doing exactly. It can be just a field extension worker. It can be extension manager. It can be an expert in a very specific topic. It can be someone who is just a policymaker also maybe, or a teacher from university, a prof. These are what we call the extension workers here. And the final beneficiaries. Mainly these are the farmers, the people who really benefit from the extension. So each extension worker will accompany 2 farmers or 2 final beneficiaries. So this, if we sum up, will give us this database: 10 country forums, 60 to 100 AES organization, 120 to 200 extensionists, and 240 to 400 farmers. This is what we are looking for. In total, we might have to follow, the program might have to follow for the ICTKM and MNE to work and monitor and follow 360 persons to 600 persons. What are the expertise required when we select these organizations? We don't select them because they are our friends, they are our close family, or because they are politically very easy to manipulate or to work with, and so on. We will decide on these organizations based on the skills and expertise. These organizations will be those that will be the pillar for this program. They are going to be the models, those who will lead others. Because we know that in each country forum we have so many organizations, entities, some maybe hundreds of entities, but only 10 maximum will be selected based on their skills, their expertise. And we are looking for expertise, especially on AAS, of course, but ICT, KM, MNE, communication, and of course, project management, which is very cross-cutting. We need people who knows how to manage projects so that we run this program very fast with good M&E and so on. So these are the must-have skills when we choose our organizations. If you choose 10 organizations, at least half of them must have all these skills. Then the next criteria is to choose also those that have expertise in CSA, in some agronomy background, AS professionalization, gender, and nutrition, and so on. So these are some topics that we will be dealing with that are very relevant for this program. So you are encouraged to select your organizations based on these topics so that you will move faster. You will have already the expertise inside your country forum before even starting the program, and you will be able to run fast. As you will notice, this program is quite flexible. At some point, those who are performing well might be supported better than others because we need results and we need to demonstrate that something is really happening and that there are results and there are impact on this program. Of course, we will also expect that some organizations have some skills in foresight, in resource mobilization, and e-extension. But these are some of the areas that we will learn a lot. As Edie already mentioned, we will work a lot on resource mobilization starting this year. We will support country for us in being more self-sufficient and being more autonomous. We will learn more about foresight and e-extension. So these are the kind of requirement that we are expecting when you will select the organizations and the individuals that will work closely with the country forum and with the AFAS secretariat. Thank you for your attention and your patience. So over to you, Jerry.
Thanks a lot. There are some quick questions that have come up. One is Ibrahima, the focal person from Fos Kamali, is saying, could you simply summarize in French so that the French audience also understands what you're talking about?
Okay, so let me just summarize very quickly and apologize that I haven't anticipated that. Yes. So, donc, les amis francophones, notre premier souci actuel, c'est que nous devons présenter des évidences, des résultats sur ce programme de Caadp XP le plus tôt possible maintenant. Nous avons beaucoup de questions de nos partenaires qui nous assaillent avec des questions du genre « Où est le résultat concret sur le terrain de ce que vous faites ?» Et donc, le mécanisme que nous allons mettre en place permettra de répondre à cela. Nous allons très rapidement, donc vous êtes parmi les pays qui bénéficient, les francophones c'est Madagascar et Mali actuellement. Vous êtes donc parmi les pays qui bénéficient de ce financement et chacun de vous allez choisir entre 6 à 10 organisations qui vont travailler beaucoup plus serré avec le forum pays et le secrétariat d'AFAS. Et dans chacune de ces organisations, vous allez choisir 2 experts ou 2 champions en vulgarisation et 4 bénéficiaires directs qui pourront plus tard faire des témoignages, prouver qu'il y a quelque chose qui se passe par rapport à ce projet, qu'il y a des choses tangibles que nous sommes en train de mettre en place. Donc en gros c'est ça. Comment vous allez sélectionner ces organisations et ces individus? Eh bien, vous allez sélectionner basé sur des prérequis. Il faut que ce soit évidemment des gens dans la vulgarisation de conseil agricole, ils ont des capacités antiques en gestion de connaissances, en suivi-évaluation, en communication, en gestion de projet et en agriculture climato-intelligent, en agronomie, en professionnalisation, en genre, puis en prospective, en mobilisation de ressources et en vulgarisation assistée par l'électronique. Donc voilà ce qu'on a expliqué ici, c'est le mécanisme avec lequel on va faire l'implémentation de ce projet. J'espère que ça peut répondre un peu en partie à votre question. I'm done. Over to you again, Jerry.
Thank you very much. Before we go to other questions, I also just wanted to supplement on what you said. This project is targeting many stakeholders, but it has special interest in the private sector and the farmer-based organizations. Therefore, among the stakeholders, it is important to give some prominence to the private sector and the farmer-based organizations. Yeah.
Okay, I see a question. Yes.
I actually wanted to bring the more questions that are coming. Ufas is asking, now you've talked about the roles of the CICM. When are we hearing about the roles of the focal person?
Yes, I think I already introduced that at the beginning, that because of some political instability in Ethiopia, Dr. Samson is not able to join us, and also that Max is facilitating another important meeting failed. So it will come in the next meeting. We will agree when will be the next meeting at the end of this one.
Okay. Then the second question is coming from Gitika from Kefas. He's asking, he's saying they did not participate in the initial foresight training. Are you planning a repeat of the same? And secondly, they had made some requests for training in organizing webinars through Zoom and upgrading the website to align in the new normal. Are these catered for?
Yes, thank you very much for these questions, Peter. Yeah, the foresight training, I think we've been discussing about that this morning, even me and Jerry, and we are planning to have our own foresight meeting at AFAS, and we are in the process of organizing it. In fact, the first training was even planned for this afternoon, but because of the meeting in the morning, we need to postpone it for maybe next week or so. So that is for the foresight training. We will do some foresight training, definitely. The second one is about the webinar. Yes, I remember I received some mail from Peter about that request, and unfortunately I haven't been able to respond. And sorry to all the people whom send requests, and sometimes I don't respond because we are still organizing things at AFAS Secretariat. And about the webinar, for sure, AFAS is in the process of even subscribing to more than one Zoom facility so that we can have parallel activities, Zoom meetings. For instance, it has been proposed and already approved by the management that we will have one Zoom for West Africa, one Zoom for East Africa and the Secretariat, and one Zoom for Southern Africa. So in case there is a parallel Zoom, it will always be possible in the different regions of Africa, and the countries will have to organize themselves so that the Zoom usage can be coordinated between the countries in the different regions. So that is already in under implementation. The training that will follow, we will agree on that also at the end of this meeting. When do you want to start to be trained on the Zoom management of Zoom webinar? So that also will we can plan on that even starting next week. And yeah, the last question on that is on the website to align in the new normal. Yeah, yeah. Last year we started some training on website development, and especially on how to add content and relevant content, organize structured content in your website. And this year the CIKM again will be trained in doing that. So be sure you'll have the opportunity to improve or update your website. But by the way, KFA's website is already very nice and very a lot of functionalities. So you just need to do some small improvement for you, I think. Over to you, Jerry.
Okay, I think those are the questions that I've had. Maybe you could open the floor for further questions to come from the members.
And maybe if Kate and Fabio are already there, we can also move to the next one after, as soon as there's no more question. Yeah, Buddy is already there, but Kate, maybe she's still on her way. Ufas is raising her hand.
Ufas, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you very much, Andre, for the good presentation. I actually am the one who raised the question of why are we knowing the focal point persons. And I'm wondering, how are we going with the KIM and the focal person? How are we going to work? Is it like they look like each one has they have their own activities? Are they going to be, working together? It was like the two are like being taken separate. I don't know.
Oh, that depends on how you organize it.
Hello?
Yes, that's up to you.
Even and how is the reporting? Is it going to be like the Kim reports to Andrea, and then the focal person reports to Samson? How are we going to really have? I don't know.
Well, I think that question we can discuss more on that in the next session. But just maybe to start introducing it. The focal person is a focal person, which means everything has to go through the focal person.
Mm-hmm.
So you are the coordinator, you are the one who is the interface with APAS in any case. But in technical aspects, there might be some, to speed our work, there might be some direct interaction from the APAS Secretariat to the CIKM persons. So there's no restriction that we have to go always through the focal person's channel to do things. We might also accelerate some activities. Of course, you will always, focal persons, as a focal person, they will always be informed about what's happening. But sometimes to speed up things, we might also go directly and discuss directly with the CIKM.
Okay, and another question is that with all these roles, I don't know, is it envisaged that the Kim is a full-time, or I don't know? Our first understanding was that these are part-time people.
Yes, and I see a question related to that also on the question box. Considering the task of the CIKM, does the project provide material for the accomplishment of their mission? Thanks. Yes. We think that it depends on, of course, the skills and experience of the CIKM person. If you look at the deliverables, some CIKM person might do it in maybe half a day, half-time work or even maybe 2-3 hours per day. Some, if they are still learning and they are not in the area of the AAS or hasn't been working with the network before, they might need to learn a lot, adapt to the new situation, to the new environment, and they might waste a lot of time. So it depends. The work in itself is, we've calculated so that the person can work just half time on that. But in some case, it might happen that they will need full time. If they are still learning, they are still just adapting to the new network and knowing each people, each member of the network, and so on. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, somehow. I think the last one is that I think we need also to know how they are going to be facilitated. I don't know whether that's in a different webinar. I don't know.
Yes, we need to have another webinar very more specific to the CIKM, just for the CIKM, but we will provide the internet connection. That is one thing, because we can't work in this new environment and the distancing without internet connectivity. So that one is for sure will be we will support. Now about the equipment and the material, I think we will ask Paddy and Kate about that after, because I'm not 100% sure that what is the right answer for that one.
Okay.
Now, some of you might ask, there's a lot of things that are requested from the CIKM facilitator. As I said, that person should be just a facilitator. Anyone in the network should support that person, anyone who has the skills, who knows how to for instance, organize a Zoom meeting or organize a foresight exercise. Anyone can facilitate and help, and you'll be supported financially for these meetings and so on, as long as you show some evidence of the results and the move that we are starting now. The CIKM facilitator will be trained in many things: in video, in audio, in storytelling, in case experience sharing, and case study writing, and so on. So if the person is not very fluent in these areas for now, she or he will benefit a lot from being a CIKM person. And I will encourage especially young people, because we need a new generation of extension workers, of course, and these young people are fast learners, as we said. They are still agile, and they can adapt themselves to different conditions.
Yeah, and if there are no other questions, I propose that we go to Paddy's presentation.
Yes. So, Paddy, are you there? Maybe you will explain the process where we are now in the procurement. ED has already announced that he has signed the sub-agreements, but as far as I know, there are still some difficulties in some of the country forum. Maybe you can explain in some minutes. Yes, thank you.
Are you getting me all?
Yes, we can hear you.
We have just a few comments on the sub-grants. would like to inform you that 11 country forest sub-grant agreements have been signed. The 11th one, which is now surface, and then the regional forests are the ones that are pending. In these sub-grant agreements, we would like you to adhere to the procurement rules and procedures of IFAD where necessary, especially when you are procuring any equipment. Because of being small value procurement, you may require using shopping method, which is at times national shopping, where you obtain at least 3 quotes. It must be competitive whenever you are doing anything. And evidence of documents, including delivery notes, must be kept on record. However, directly to the sub-grants, we have put in the work plan as per the approved work plans that you submitted to the program team. So you are required to adhere to whatever you stated in your approved work plans. Right now, we are scanning all the sub-grant agreements that have been signed on our part, and we will be forwarding them in the next 1 hour to all the concerned parties, especially the ones that are responsible for signing. We shall be copying either the chief executive or the chairperson of the country forum, and then the focal point persons to follow up the signature, the signing on your part. The moment that is done, I think the procedure as per the sub-grant agreement is that you raise a requisition formally to finance, which will be approved, and then disbursements will be made. However, you will note in the sub-grant agreement that you are going to be dispersed 70% of the funds that is stipulated in the approved annual work plans. It is upon accounting for 70% of that money that you will be able to get the next disbursement of the 30%. We anticipate that you should have utilized these monies by end of October, and in September you are requesting for the next batch, the next disbursement, which will be 30%. Remember, IFAD is very emphatic on keeping records, and don't take them for granted. What I know about IFAD and USAID, they may fall up even $1,000 when they are using over $10,000 to follow up and see whether we are doing right things. So have it at the back of your mind that you are supposed to keep the records for a minimum of 10 years. Why are they giving you 10 years? Because the project is expected to run for 5 years. And ideally, at the end of the project, you expected to keep for another 5 years the records. So anything can happen. They can say we are reviewing. We are going to the countries to review, to the country for us. So don't throw away these records. The other details, you will find the tools and templates that you will be using in the reporting in the template for sub-grant agreements, which will be uploaded on our website. You will see, for example, the financial tools for reporting, the monitoring and evaluation templates, progress reports, etc. So you will just be getting a copy in that uploaded template. Because in this sub-grant agreement, we could not put up everything into one sub-grant agreement. The document would go to over 50 pages, and it would be like we are getting a textbook as a contract. So to ease the reference and so on. If you fail to download, you can even ask in soft copy from finance. We are even thinking of an easier way of helping you to do this by getting the Excel sheets, such that when you fill in, the calculations are already inserted. And when you are, for example, doing a transaction list, it's a matter of putting in a figure and the calculations are made automatically, such that when you are making accountabilities, it is easy. Once it is done, we shall share them in email. At this point in time, I need to apologize on behalf of AFAS that we have taken long. I know the assessments were somehow rigorous, asking for so many things to which some other entities did not have. And eventually, when they were established, we have been able to finalize. Let me take this opportunity on behalf of AFAS to say I wish you the best in implementing this program. The money may look small, but if we do better, we may get better money by attracting other funders. I thank you very much. That's the brief that I can give at the interim. For other information, we can share either in email or otherwise.
Thank you very much, Paddy. Kate is on her way, so she will join us very shortly. But there are a few questions there, and maybe if there are additional questions, you can still ask on the question conversation box. One question that is asked by Signola: our farmer-based organization could be identified extensionist among lead farmers and lead trainers. Of course, of course. We at AFAS, for instance, we are hosting the farmer field school, and the master trainers there are all extensionists. There are also some farmers who are really working on the field who are champions in training other farmers. So these people are the target of these projects, because by showing what they say, innovation they bring in the field, we can make a lot of impact across the continent. And then the next question is, should the extensionists have all mentioned skills or some? Ideally, they will have all these skills, which means they are very experienced. But we might not find the perfect, the ideal extension worker always. So we can always try to combine different skills, as long as we have the whole team capable of delivering in different disciplines and areas. Now, while waiting for Kate and maybe for other questions, I think Nestor is there, and there are French-speaking participants. Can Nestor maybe summarize a little bit some of the questions and answers that just came and are relevant for everybody here? Nestor, over to you.
So as Nestor is coming, there is a question from Ufas, and is asking, is the sub-grant, okay, the question is that different from the approved work plan that we have just signed and submitted? I think she was referring to the sub-grant.
Grant that we are sending is a reflection of those approved work plans that were submitted by the country for us. So there are some countries where we are having LMP, last mile project, and then Caadp, which is Caadp XP. So all those countries that have just signed the approved work plans for Caadp XP, the work plan will be exactly that you signed for. For RMP, there would be some further revisions where we shall reach an agreement. So amendments might be made to those sub-grant agreements as we move. So the ones for Caadp, they are the ones that you signed for, and they are the final. Unless other issues come up, maybe because of this COVID. I hope I've answered appropriately that question. Beatrice, are you getting me? Beatrice, she's off air.
Yeah.
Hello? Okay, she seems to be off.
Yeah, maybe if Nesta is available.
I think since she's in Uganda, she has even more chances of getting more information directly from the organization.
Yes, I think I'll ask you more, because it's like we first asked, I think what we first signed, was it something to risk assessment, something, and then it was signed and then we sent, and then recently I think we signed the approved work plan, which was sent to us, though we didn't know actually whether we were supposed to make any more adjustment. Me, I thought maybe that was final sent from AFAS, so we signed. And now it is what you are now talking about, which was not very clear to me. What eventually are we going to sign? Is it the contract? Is that a contract, or what is it? Maybe I know I can ask you, but I think for the others also to know. I know, yeah.
So what you are now doing is you are signing an agreement between the parties, the country fora and AFAS. The agreement will stipulate the roles of the parties and what you are supposed to do. So the annual plan that you signed for is part of the agreement. It will just take on one clause. Then
for 6 months. Okay.
Yeah, for the 6 months. Now the other issues which are very critical that have been pointed out, which you need to read very well in the sub-grant agreement. Visibility is key to EU and is key to IFAD. In every document where you use IFAD money and EU money, they should, their logos and so on should appear for visibility purposes. And the clause is in that sub-grant agreement to the effect. So in the monitoring, it might not be monitoring only money, but even other aspects within the agreement to see that we are complying with them.
Okay.
Welcome.
Is Nesta now available? Nesta? Okay, as Nesta is coming, I see a question from Elizabeth. She's saying, I had a chance to look at the work plan, including the results framework, and the deliverables shared here are not included. Oh, okay, she says Paddy has clarified. Okay.
Okay.
Nesta.
Yeah, Jerry.
Yeah, I think Nesta, you're supposed to translate some of the things that we've discussed here in French so that the French audience benefits from what we've been discussing.
Okay, let me start with what Paddy said. Bonjour à tous. Nous avons essayé de partager avec vous un certain nombre de choses, surtout relatifs à la gestion financière des différents accords de financement et de subventions que nous pouvons avoir avec AFAS dans le cadre du projet Caadp X4. Donc, Paddy essayait de nous dire que nous avons un ensemble d'éléments, surtout les outils de comptabilité qui sont sur le site web. Donc, on peut aller les télécharger sur le site web, mais pour ceux qui ont des difficultés, ils peuvent nous contacter au secrétariat et nous allons mettre ces outils à leur disposition. Mais il y a une certaine traçabilité et clarté dans la gestion qui doit être mise en place, surtout en ce qui concerne la sélection des prestataires. Donc, on doit le faire en respectant les règles établies par le FIDA. On veut se rassurer que les prestations de services et les achats d'un certain nombre de biens respectent un peu les règles de compétitivité, la règle du moins 10 ans, telle que nous connaissons. Mais si vous avez des difficultés à maîtriser la manipulation de ces outils, vous pouvez nous contacter et nous allons vous appuyer dans ce sens-là. Donc, voilà un peu résumé ce que Paddy essayait de nous faire comprendre en ce qui concerne la gestion. Bon, il y a certaines questions ont été posées relatives à l'accord de subvention ou bien au contrat. Plusieurs pays ont envoyé un plan de travail et budget annuel qui ont été révisés au niveau du secrétariat. Donc, les documents sont en train d'être finalisés. Il y a d'autres qui ont déjà eu à signer même déjà leur accord de financement. Mais nous autres, pour ceux qui n'ont pas encore reçu l'accord de financement, ça veut dire que l'évaluation du risque dans la gestion administrative et financière qui avait été remplie par la plupart des pays est encore en cours de finalisation. Donc, ceux-là pourront être contactés pour clarifier un certain nombre de choses pour que les accords de subvention puissent être finalement bouclés. Donc, l'idée globale ici, c'est que nous puissions non seulement travailler en étroite collaboration, mais mettre un accent vraiment clé sur la clarté et la gestion des finances selon les procédures mises en place par le FIDA, parce que le FIDA est l'une des personnes qui pourront nous accompagner dans ce sens, et également les règles de l'Union européenne. Je pense que voilà un peu résumé l'essentiel de ce qui a été dit tout à l'heure par le responsable des engagements face au secrétariat. Jerry, I think it's okay from now. You can move forward.
Maybe back to Andre.
Yes, so I think to summarize, we are going to start implementation now. As the ED said, the sub-agreement has been already signed. Paddy has just stressed the importance of following some rules and using some tools for the accountability. Now Kate is also online. Maybe if she can summarize in 5 minutes, what are the issues and what are the recommendations regarding this aspect of accountability and the finance in general before we close this meeting with the next programming for the next activities, common activities on Zoom. So Kate, can you just share quickly what are your thoughts, what are your concerns, your recommendations for as we are going to start implementation now?
Good afternoon, members. I'm sorry I'm not feeling well from the hospital.
Sorry,
but we thank you very much for the responses when we requested for the documentation. Most of the countries were responsive. We are grateful for that. As for the status of the sub-grant, I think you have already been informed that it is in the final stages. But as we get those grants, the major issues we have to look at are that grant agreement, that is the project agreement. because all the implementation will be based on that very agreement, not anything outside it. And you look at the important dates of that agreement. The important dates are the date of signing, the closing date, and the end period. That is the grace period. You look at the effective date when you signed that agreement. That will be the expenditures which will be eligible during that period. Don't put in the expenditures which were incurred before. If there are those expenditures you feel that there must be there, maybe you need another discussion outside that. But the effective date is the date in the signed agreement. Those are the only expenditures will be acceptable during this period. Then you look at when the agreement is supposed to end, and it's a grace period. Then you look at the reporting period. It will be very important because you are not going to get 100% of the money. So if you don't comply with the reporting period, it will not only affect you as a country forum, but the whole program, because as Secretariat, we also have to get more money after submitting accountability to IFAD. So accountability is very important. Reporting is very important in this project. Then we are going to provide you with the eligible and ineligible expenditure under this program. You might be used to the guideline of AFAS as an organization, but as EU, they have their own procedures. Please look at them carefully. Don't use like the per diem of what we gave you last time for the financial guidelines. This time you have to use the procedures which are provided in this grant. Then another issue is the preparation for the audit. At the end of the year, there has to be audit. Before the audit, during the expenditure, this program, it has categories, and each category, it has its own requirements, the supporting document for that category. We have the goods and services, we have consultancy, we have training, we have operating costs, and travel and allowances. We are going to provide you all the required documentation for each category, and we don't expect anything outside it. So you have to read those categories very carefully and look at the supporting documents which are required by each category, because that's what EU wants. It's not just implementing, but we have to follow the category when we are implementing our activities. I think that is mainly what I have to say in brief. We have to look at the important dates. That is the signing date, the ending date, and the reporting date, then the grace period. We have to look at the guidelines, we have to look at the categories, and we have to ensure that we report in time. Where you need clarification, because you are free to be calling the Secretariat for further clarification. I think in brief, that's what I have to say now.
There's a question here, Kate. During the risk assessment survey, you asked us to mention the persons to assist with the accounts. How will those ones be catered for?
Yeah, they are not provided under the grant. Because this, this project, it looks at that we have most of the country for us, they are hosted by another organization where we have an MOU. So we expect that the country fora to use the services of the host institution.
Okay, so if you allow me, I will just summarize quickly French, or is Nestor there? Nestor, can you summarize in French? Okay, I think the key points that were raised by
In French, Andre.
ah oui, excusez-moi. Les points essentiels soulignés par Kate sont que il faut respecter les dates. Hein. Regardez bien la date de signature de votre contrat, Monsieur Grant, et surtout la fin, parce qu'il faut respecter cette fin et il faut consommer l'argent pendant cette période-là. Donc c'est très important. Ensuite, elle a dit, vous ne pouvez pas émettre des factures qui sont en dehors de ça. Donc, ni avant, si vous avez des trucs à rembourser, ça ne marche pas, ni après, mais ça doit être des factures à l'intérieur de la date de mise en œuvre du projet. Le deuxième point, c'est qu'elle a insisté sur le suivi des procédures, tout comme Fadi a fait. Donc, il faut absolument suivre toutes les procédures. Et elle va envoyer donc quelques instructions concernant les types de dépenses éligibles. Il y a les formations, il y a les services et les biens, il y a les voyages, il y a les consultances, parmi d'autres. Donc, il faut, pour chacun de ces types, de ces catégories de dépenses, vous devez fournir les comment on appelle ça, les évidences, hein, les preuves de dépenses. Hein. Donc, être redevable sur chaque activité que vous faites. En gros, c'est, je crois, ce qu'elle a insisté.
Exactly.
I come now. Okay, so let us end this meeting now. I think,
Andre,
yes?
maybe just a recognition and an acknowledgement to our funders. I think you can do that.
The ED will do that.
Okay.
ED is still there.
Yeah, I'm still around.
Yes.
We are more
Yeah,
or less.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, so before ED close this meeting, maybe we said that we need to know when is the next meeting, or maybe even how often we organize such meetings for focal persons, for CIKM, or for everybody together, so that we can put it in our agenda, and it's a continuous process. It's a repetitive process. So maybe we can agree on a monthly meeting like this one, where everybody's there, and we also need to agree now. So you can start writing on the conversation box about your proposal, and we can vote immediately after. Then we need also to organize the focal person's role e-meeting. That one will depend on Max and Samsung, but I believe next week it should be possible. As soon as there's the unrest in Ethiopia is over, we can expect that this e-meeting will happen. And the Zoom training, that also we can decide now. You can write on the chat box when you want it, which day are the days that where you are more available. Knowing that Monday is always like internal team meeting days, so we don't recommend Mondays. Fridays also are a bit busy. Sometimes we have end of week meetings, and Muslim countries also are not too busy that day. So maybe we need also to think of Monday and Friday are not in the list. And then the last thing that we will plan also for CIKM people, because we need to go more in detail now. Very quickly, we'll need to go in detail. How often are the CIKM people ready, and which day are they ready to have meetings? So I think in the next 2 minutes, we can discuss about that quickly. How often do we need a meeting between everybody, coordination meeting with everybody? Then the focal person one, that will wait for Samsung and Max. The Zoom training you can propose, and we are already ready for that even next week. For the CIKM also, if the CIKM people have some idea when, what time, knowing also that we have 3 different time zones. We are from the Mali is at the extreme west, Mali and Ghana, and Madagascar is on the extreme east. And there are 3 hours difference between that. So if we start at 11 in East Africa, that will be 8 in West Africa. We have to always think about that. People, they go at office starting at 8. And also people have to go out of office around latest 5. So 5 is 2 in West Africa. If we start a meeting at 2, it's already end of business hour in East Africa. So we have to, when we propose a time, please think about this, time zone aspect. So maybe Jerry is looking at the chat box at this time and can facilitate a little bit. Okay, Elizabeth UFAS is proposing the Zoom training could come first. UFAS is organizing a symposium at the end of July, and it will be over Zoom. Yes, we have time for that. So we can do it this week, or even next week, or even again the other week.
Okay.
Still.
And then again, UFAS is proposing that the focal person meeting is needed as soon as possible. Maybe next week. Yeah, that is what was in the chat box.
Okay. There is not too much participation in the chat box. What we will do is we will run what we call doodle dating. So we'll provide many dates, and you will decide, and based on the number of participants that are available in certain dates, we will propose that one so that the date will be decided as democratically as possible. In the meantime, next. Yeah.
I see somebody proposed Tuesday next week. Another one proposing Wednesday next week for the Zoom training. The focal point meeting Tuesday next week. So these are proposals.
Okay. I think we take good note of all these things. Just that Wednesday morning, there is also the Farmer Feed School Hub meeting that is already running every Wednesday. So Wednesday morning won't be possible, but in the afternoon it is okay. So maybe we can, yes?
I wanted to propose, as we are thinking about the other trainings, I think also the M&E training, as we plan, you know, the sub-grants that we are talking about are for 6 months. So we may be also starting to plan for the next year. So yes. As we talk about the planning, we could also talk about details now of M&E. So an M&E training comes in handy.
Yes. I think if each participant here can write his WhatsApp number so that we create a Caadp XP4 team WhatsApp group, again, another WhatsApp group. And we can discuss on WhatsApp about the dates. So there will be the Zoom, there will be the focal person first, that is the priority, then there will be the Zoom, then there will be the M&E, and there will be also the CIKM. These are and there will be the foresight in the pipeline. These are all activities, and you will see we will be overwhelmed with Zoom meetings.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so please, yes, if you can write your WhatsApp number there so that we can discuss quickly on WhatsApp group on the dates and hours that we will adopt. But thanks, Gabriel from Ghana. He already proposed early in the morning in Accra. So yeah. And now we are going to, I think we are going to close this meeting. This time we've been a bit punctual. We start at past 6, and we will try to close also at past 6. So the meeting has taken us 1 hour and a half. Over to you, Edie. Thank you very much, everybody.
Hello, am I supposed to close?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I've been following up the discussions. At least for the beginning, I think it's been productive. And like you suggested, I think for details on it is good that you're going to create a WhatsApp group. It's probably the cheapest means of communicating, so long as you have internet the world over. So for I think let's not be shy of asking questions as we move along and so on and so forth, so that we don't make mistakes. The other thing which you have mentioned, which is very critical, is this visibility. And we are very grateful to the EU for the support on this Caadp and the IFAD for LMP and FAO. So in any communication we are having, especially if it is under Caadp XP4, we really need to show the EU logos and IFAD. So let me really wish you successful implementation of Caadp XP4. And like I mentioned, we have just signed some of the agreements, and I'm sure sooner or later, probably starting from next week, disbursements will start. So I think get geared on to work and reaching as many extension workers as possible. And then, of course, we'll reach the farmers. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Edie. So to close, what we suggest is we take a group photo. We are not physically in the same place, but virtually. So you just activate your video, and we will have a snapshot of a group photo with your video on. You know, this is accountability, yeah? Don't forget when you'll organize your meetings later, because EU is funding for the Zoom, EU is funding for some of the spending you're going to do. Then we have to show that we have really been meeting with the Zoom, and that we have been really, we've gathered the focal persons and the CIKM persons in one place. Yeah, so yeah, we can see that you are all there now.